Tim Tebow. I mean, are are we really talking about Tim Tebow making a comeback to the NFL? Really? Is that what we're talking about? Did we not see enough the first time around to realize that Tim Tebow was an absolute bust? Did we not see enough the first time around to know that Tim Tebow could not cut it at the NFL level? In a way, if you look at it, Tim Tebow was ahead of his time. He was never going to make it as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's not what I'm saying. But he could have made a career as a gadget type player, a Taysom Hill type. And perhaps that's what Urban Meyer is thinking right now. Urban Meyer brought Tim Tebow down to Jacksonville to work out with the Jags. They had him practice with the tight ends. Jacksonville's actually in need for a tight end right now, even though they just had 6 rounds in the NFL draft to select a tight end. So Urban Meyer brings in Tebow to try out for the tight end position. And he'll probably attend training camp as well. But I really have my suspicions with this whole scenario. If Tim Tebow ends up making the 53-man roster in August, I'm definitely going to have my suspicions. Let me tell you why. The Jacksonville Jaguars are once again in another rebuild. This team has been in a rebuild for most of their 25-30-year existence. The Jaguars have never been a mainstream team in the NFL. They've never had a franchise quarterback. They've never really had a marketable star. And even when they do have stars, especially on the defensive end, the team finds a way to screw it up. Jacksonville has always struggled to sell tickets. The Jags have one of the worst attendance records in the NFL. They also struggle to make it on national television. When is the last time we have seen the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football? They might get one, maybe 2 national TV games a year, and most of the times, that's on Thursday nights. The Thursday night game, to me, it's not really what I would call a prime time slot. Yes, it's in prime time, I realize that, but the Thursday night game in the NFL is usually one of the least anticipated matchups of the week. My point is, the Jacksonville Jaguars, historically, have struggled to stay relevant. So what do they do this offseason? They hire Urban Meyer, a head coach who has mainstream appeal. The first coach in the history of the franchise that has name value. None of the Jags' previous head coaches have the mainstream appeal that Urban Meyer does. They had Tom Coughlin before Tom Coughlin was a big-name coach. The others, guys like Jack Del Rio, Mike Mularkey, Gus Bradley, Doug Marrone, they're all nobodies. So the Jags hire Urban Meyer. Then they use their number 1 pick on Trevor Lawrence, the only quarterback in the draft who was a true superstar coming out of college. And now, they are entertaining Tim Tebow. This, to me, just feels like a ploy to sell tickets. Which, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Tim Tebow's a legend in Florida. Had a highly successful career down the road in Gainesville when he was in college. He and Urban Meyer have a long history together. They know each other really well. But this is the NFL. This is not college football. This is the NFL. This is not a gimmick league. It's not a gimmick business. This isn't a league that you can step away from for 5-6 years and step back on the field one day and play at a high level. It just doesn't work like that. There is no way in hell Tim Tebow legitimately makes this 53-man roster. If the Jags do hang on to him for the regular season, it's just a ploy to sell tickets, just like I said a second ago. I mean, really think about this for a second. Urban Meyer is taking a guy that's played quarterback his entire life, a guy who's been away from the NFL for 5 years, a guy who's been playing minor league baseball, and at 33 years old, you expect him to transition to a tight end, a completely new position? In the most skilled professional sports league in the country, it's not going to work. If Tim Tebow wasn't Tim Tebow, this wouldn't even be in consideration right now. But the Jags know he has a following. He's got a platform, especially in Florida. So they're going to give him a chance. Now, while we're on this topic of chances, let me get to one more thing before we get out of here. Fred Taylor is a legend in Jacksonville. And for those of you out there that are in your early 20s, Fred Taylor was a great running back for the Jags, played in Jacksonville for 10 years. He's on a podcast the other day, and he says that Tim Tebow never received a fair chance in the NFL. Are we really going here? Tim Tebow didn't receive a fair shot in the NFL? Are you kidding me? Dude, he was drafted in the first round by the Broncos when he had no business being a first-round draft pick. John Elway drafted him against his will and better judgment, I think. John Elway was never a believer in Tim Tebow, and for good reason. He sucked. The Broncos, they gave him a chance anyway. The Tebow fanatics, led by Captain Woke Skip Bayless, they always like to point to the fact that Tim Tebow led the Broncos to the playoffs in his second year, and even won a playoff game against the Steelers. But that was all smoke and mirrors. It was an illusion. He completed 46% of his passes that year, and he got lucky in overtime in that playoff game against the Steelers. He hit like a 5 or 10 yard slant pass that his receiver turned into a 55 or 60 yard touchdown in overtime. I think it might have been Emmanuel Sanders. I can't remember who the receiver was, but it had little to do with Tim Tebow making that play. And what happened the very next week? He lost by 35 points to Tom Brady. Tebow sucked so bad that year in Denver, even with them making the playoffs. He sucked so bad that John Elway shipped him off to the Jets. NFL teams rarely give up on a first-round pick, especially a quarterback, in year 2. That's how bad Tim Tebow was. So the Jets give him an opportunity. He was the third quarterback on the depth chart that featured such legends like Greg McElroy and Mr. Butt Fumble himself, Mark Sanchez. The Jets figured out after 1 year that Tim Tebow was a bum. Then he gets a chance with both the Eagles and the Patriots. And he can't even make the main roster for either team. So don't give me this garbage that Tim Tebow was never given a fair chance in the NFL. He was given 4 chances. And if you judge him on his lack of skills, he didn't deserve the 4 chances that he got. The only reason, and I mean the only reason, that Tim Tebow was ever given a chance in the NFL in the first place is because his name was Tim Tebow. Teams knew that they could sell tickets with him. They knew he would get them on national TV. Because he has such a strong Christian fan base, he was the poster boy for the all-American, clean-cut Christian dude. If Tim Tebow didn't have the platform that he had coming out of college, he never would have been given a chance at the NFL level. And like I said, he is only being given a 5th chance now in Jacksonville because his name is Tim Tebow, and the Jags need to sell tickets. Now, what do you guys think? The Jags and Tim Tebow, is this just a circus, a ploy to sell tickets? Or do you guys think Tim Tebow has a legitimate chance at being a tight end in the NFL at 33 years old after not playing football for 5 years? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.